welcome back to my channel. I've just got a few things I would like to talk about. It's been quite a stressful week, as last Friday, I had Openreach BT came to install new connections. I'm glad I had it done, because otherwise it would be weighing on my mind, and I'll be feeling left out because everyone's having it done. But it was really OCD stressful, because obviously people had to come inside, and that feels very contaminatory, and a lot of OCD triggers, and it was very stressful. Because I'm OCD, obviously I waited in the kitchen mostly. I went outside in the garden again. I got triggered in the gardens again. I came back in again, and oh god, it's really stressful. But I'm glad I had it done, because otherwise they did tell me I could reschedule, but the thing is then it will just be deferring it, and I still have to go through it at some point. And I hate having things hanging over me, particularly stressful things, and I just thought, it's just best to get the stress out of the way, because otherwise ultimately in the long run it would just be weighing on my brain just knowing it has to be done. So I'm glad it was done, but it was stressful. So that was stressful. Then it was my birthday yesterday. Not that I could do anything, so I'm housebound, so I'm now 38. I don't feel 38, and I probably don't look 38, but lots of people tell me I still look in my early 20s, so I'm used to that, people telling me I don't look my age, and that's fine. I don't mind it. In actual fact, I don't mind. I used to hate the fact I look younger than years, but now I don't mind. So yeah, if any of you are surprised or shocked that I'm 38, yes I am, even though I don't look it, probably. But yes, I hate my birthday. I hate it because I hate getting older. I don't want to get older, but obviously there's nothing we can do with the passage of time. Just have to accept it. There's nothing we can do about it. Obviously, like I said, I'm housebound, so I couldn't really do anything to celebrate. I just had croissants and jam for breakfast, and my dad also got me some blueberry muffins, so I had one of those for breakfast today. Other than that, nothing really. My dad got me some trees for my birthday, but they're not going to be planted till October, so I'm getting some more trees for my garden, which I'm looking forward to, but that's not until October. We're getting a hawthorn, so I really want a hawthorn. They're really good for wildlife, and they're small trees. They're thorny, but they're small. Put that sort of backside, and also we're getting a little crab apple tree, but just a little small one, and an elder bush. So I really want an elder bush, because they're also native and they're really good for attracting wildlife. So I'm looking forward to those in October, but that's kind of my dad's kind of present to me. And then my brother got me a green duvet cover, Egyptian cotton green duvet cover, which I chose, by the way. He asked me what you like, and that's what I chose, because I already had some of the other duvet covers in the range, and it's really good. And I really like Egyptian cotton because it's so soft and a lot cooler, and it lasts longer than regular cotton. So yeah, that's what I got. Anyway, so that's that. But what I wanted really to talk about in this video was, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you will know that I've had a lot going on with I've had a lot going on with trying to get therapy and not being able to get therapy I need for my OCD, and consequently I've put in place a complaint to PALS. That's the Patients Advice Liaison Service. I wrote a long email about my awful experiences, but check out my other videos where I talk about that. So I'm not going to go right into that now. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have done other videos on this. Anyway, this morning at 10 AM, I got a phone call from the clinic to discuss my complaint. They did phone last Friday in the midst of the BT Openreach thingy, and I couldn't answer the phone call then because I was too stressed and it wasn't the right time, but they said they'd phone me back. And they did today, actually, bang on time, which is quite unusual. At 10 AM, the time that we'd agreed, it's quite unusual that. They phoned bang on time. Anyway, I had to tell them everything that had happened, basically going over all of the points I made out of my email. I think hopefully I got everything out there. Anyway, what's going to happen is a psychologist is going to phone me sometime next week. She couldn't give me a day or a time, which is a little bit annoying. It's a bit random, and I wish they'd give me an actual day and time, so I'm not entirely sure when this psychologist is going to phone. But sometime next week, a psychologist is going to phone me, and I'll then be able to tell them exactly about my OCD and stuff, and they will then maybe tell me what support I can get, but I'm not very hopeful. I'm not hopeful because I've been going through this morass. Well, yes, that's a word, isn't it? I'm in a morass. Anyway, yeah, I've been trying to get support now for a very, very long time, and without getting anywhere. So I'm not very hopeful that this is going to achieve anything. I don't have high expectations, but we will see what happens. But I was quite pissed off today after the conversation I had with this person from the clinic. I'm not even actually entirely sure who they are. I should have actually asked. I think they're like the senior manager or something, and I'm not actually sure. I should have asked. I wish I had. You don't always think of mentioning these things in a moment. But yeah, I am kind of quite pissed off about what was said in the conversation, because I mentioned the national clinic because there's a national clinic for OCD, which is based in London, and people who are so-called treatment resistant, I hate that word, but that's the word I use, treatment resistant, who have like very severe OCD, can get referred to this service. It's in London, it's at Maudsley. You don't have to be seen in person, they can do it online, and they can see people from all across the country, because obviously I wouldn't be able to go to London, so they'd have to do it online. But that's kind of like the last resort after all other avenues have been explored. So I mentioned this service. I said, I'm not taking medication. I've not taken medication for any of my conditions. I don't take medication for ADHD, which I was diagnosed with earlier this year. My ADHD isn't too severe. I think it's more part of my autism anyway. But no, I don't take medication for that. My OCD, which is very severe, I don't take medication for. Because I don't know, it's just a personal decision. Like, everyone's different. Some people take medication and it works for them. I'm not against medication, because for some people it works really well. It's a personal decision. But for me, my particular circumstances, medication is not appropriate for all sorts of reasons. I've got very severe health anxiety for one. I wouldn't be able to handle any of the potential side effects. Funnily enough, I'm okay with vaccinations, but that's different. And vaccinations I'm used to, and they don't really give me many side effects anyway. And I don't know, I'm just used to two-foot side effects. I'm used to vaccines, and vaccines don't scare me. Some people have needle phobias. I'm lucky I don't have a needle phobia. But oral medication, I've got really severe health anxiety, particularly as it can come with certain side effects. Now, I know like people say, oh yeah, obviously like the side effects, you go through them, and a greater good is that hopefully you see a reduction in anxiety and all that. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But like I say, I would not be able to handle those side effects because of my severe health anxiety, particularly not on my own when I'm literally housebound and no one's there to potentially support me through them. That's a big no-no. And aside from that, also, and they can come with all sorts of health risks as well, like they can affect your metabolism, they can affect your heart. I've got health anxiety, I don't want to have to deal with that shit of potential risks. And also, you have to have medical checks, and I'm housebound, and that's not suitable, appropriate, and possible for me. And also, I've managed my problems this long, and I'm lucky. I don't have depression. I'm fortunate I don't have depression. Lots of people with OCD have depression, so I'm quite unusual in that respect. But I don't seem to have a propensity towards depression. I've never had depression, despite all the shit I've gone through. I'm lucky. I'm not someone who's prone to being depressed. I'm prone to being extremely anxious, though. So I'm not suicidal. I don't, generally speaking, I sleep okay. Not brilliantly, but generally speaking, my sleep is okay. I get enough sleep, more or less. And I eat okay. And I can, generally speaking, follow my routines. Even though, I do get distracted and stuff, and autism causes all sorts of problems in other areas, but I can, generally speaking, follow my routines and my interests, so I don't really see the need to take medication, because I think it carries more risks than benefits for me. And I actually think that the way, and I've had these problems for so long, and they're not going to go. I'm going to have them for life, and I want to manage them psychologically. And I think I can manage them psychologically, because back in my 20s, I was doing really, really well before this pandemic happened, and I had actually overcome a lot with purely psychological help. You know, I even went down to London with support. That shows what's possible for me with the right support. I feel that medication for me is just a cop-out. Like I said, I'm not against medication. For some people, medication is essential, particularly for those who are severely depressed or like suicidal, or where it's affecting their sleep or eating. Medication can be really essential, but for me, it's just not suitable. And no one should make me take medication. And to say I can't have therapy unless I take medication is really quite disgusting. But that's basically what the psychiatrist said, and that was why I was complaining. And I explained all this to the person I spoke to, but then she said, so when I mentioned this Maudsley place, and I said, you know, surely I can be referred there if you can't treat me. And that's when she said something that's really offensive. Now I'm going to move over to video number 2 now, just to say exactly what she said. So if you want to know what she said, move over to video number 2.